I would like to thank the legislators here that are sponsoring the bills that we're introducing this morning. Senator Blake Johnson and Representatives Deanne Vaught, Britt McKenzie, Mindy McAlinden, Howard Beatty, and Stetson Painter. Thank you for being here and for your leadership on this effort. I also want to thank Secretary Wes Ward, who couldn't be here today, but who has been a leader on the issue that we're addressing today, not just in Arkansas, but nationally, and has been a tremendous help and support in these efforts. I also want to thank a number of the other legislators that are in the crowd today. We've had an incredibly productive session and look forward to continuing to move the ball forward on common sense conservative reforms. And thank you for your willingness to keep working with our team. In my first year in office, I was proud to be the first governor in the country to kick China off of our farmland and out of our state. Unfortunately, the Chinese Communist Party isn't a threat that's going away anytime soon. President Trump was the first president in my lifetime to take a hard line against the CCP, and Arkansas needs to have his back. That's why today I'm announcing the Communist China Defense Legislative Package, a sweeping set of bills that will defend Arkansas from foreign bad actors. Headlines around the country prove why this is such a critical thing to do. Last year, an aide in New York State government was actually arrested for acting as a foreign agent for the Chinese Communist Party. This woman blocked Taiwanese officials from meeting with state leadership, cut mentions of Taiwan out of official documents, and requested unauthorized pro-CCP proclamations from the governor. She wasn't subtle about it either. She spent her time gloating to Chinese consular officials about her activities and lived all while living in a $3.6 million home paid for in part by bribes and gifts from the Chinese government. And sadly, she's hardly the only example of communist Chinese influence in our country and in state government. In the past 4 years, there have been more than 60 CCP-linked espionage cases in 20 different states. Of all the economic espionage in the U.S., the FBI estimates that 80% of it is driven by communist China. Border Patrol agents apprehended more than 64,000 Chinese nationals under the Biden administration, and an untold more entered our country undetected. And just this past December, a Chinese national in California was caught flying a drone over one of our Space Force bases and taking photos. He was arrested trying to board a flight back to China. The threat is real, and the enemy is here. They're targeting state governments, military bases, industrial sites, and every other facet of American society. And with President Trump back in the White House, I'm afraid they're only going to try to undermine our country more. That's why today we will take an even harder line against communist Chinese influence here in the state of Arkansas. We previously banned companies linked to the CCP and other foreign adversaries from owning farmland, and that prohibition and ban those companies now from leasing property and owning property near our critical infrastructure. And we will shorten the amount of time a banned company has to divest from our state. We will also ban lobbying on behalf of communist China, Russia, and other adversaries. Arkansas cities and towns won't be able to have a sister city in communist China anymore. And we will withhold funding from colleges and universities that have a Confucius Institute or similar organization, which we know have been used as a front for spying in other states. And any state-sponsored entity, including colleges and universities, and our state retirement systems will have to divest from communist China. We will also ban made-in-China promotional items from state government. These items should be made in America. Every state in the country has a role to play in defending America from our foreign adversaries, and I'm proud that Arkansas is leading the way. I'll now turn it over to some of our legislators and our sponsors of this to deliver a few remarks and then come up and take a couple of questions. Senator Johnson, we'll start with you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Governor. It's always lovely to go behind the governor, who is a great speaker. We are a great and free nation and a great and free state, but we are not to be taken advantage of for our freedoms. I'm glad to serve with a governor and a legislative body who is willing to stop enabling our enemies with our economy and our business and our farming interest. We will put Arkansas first and help our president keep the U.S. economy a priority and make America and Arkansas great again. Thank you.
First, I want to thank the governor for taking the leadership role on the anti-China legislation. A little over 5 years ago, when I started my campaign for public office, China was a priority that I saw here in the state. There was an issue and we addressed that. And today this brings a lot of that home on an issue that I saw back then to bring to the forefront. So I want to thank the governor for her leadership. I want to thank my colleagues here that also have legislation that's important in this area. I want to thank those of you legislators that are in the room that will vote for this legislation and pass this through. We dropped this bill back on January 31st, and I think I've spent more time working on amendments and discussing with different entities what those amendments and adjustments are. So the bill's been out there, and we're going to get this thing dropped, amended, and get it to committee and on the floor expeditiously. Basically, what this bill will do, my bill, is the bill intends to enforce strict regulations concerning financial activities and affiliations with Chinese entities within the state of Arkansas. So there's a lot of things the governor touched on that, and we'll take questions on those, but the bill's been out there, the sister cities, the investments, the Confucius Institutes, but it's time that we focus on Arkansas and make certain that outside interests that are here for no good other than to attack our state and our nation, they know where we stand, and we point them out and we identify them. So thank y'all.
Thank you. I want to thank the governor as well for stepping up and protecting Arkansas taxpayers and upholding ethical standards in government spending. The two bills that I have will make sure that state agencies do not purchase promotional materials from China, and also will prohibit procurement of electric vehicles that are linked to forced labor. By putting transparency, accountability, and economic safety first, we are standing firm against foreign influence. So again, it is such a privilege to carry this legislation. I look forward to it becoming law, and I thank the governor for reinforcing her commitment to responsible stewardship of government resources. Thank you.
We'll take a couple questions if there are any. There are a total, let's see, looking at Schaefer, 6. I was like, there's a lot packed in there. 6 total pieces of legislation.
Have you all been filed yet?
No, there are a couple that still haven't been filed.
Does anybody have an estimate of how much the state requirements would have to pass legislation?
To me, any investment that we have is one too many. And so our goal is to protect that. We know that there are some. We're going to do a complete and total review. We've already found multiple instances. But to me, any Arkansas taxpayer dollar that is invested in one of our adversaries is $1 too many, and that's what we're aiming to prevent. But we have seen a number of cases where that is, unfortunately, where our taxpayer dollars are going. I'm not going to give an exact percentage. I mean, I will let Representative Beatty jump in on specifics.
I saw one estimate of like $500 million had future requirements. I don't know if that's still.
Well, what I'll do is I'll echo the comments of the governor. First, I guess what's important is we do have investments in China. The exact amount, I don't know that we'll know. There's still folks that are looking in and searching their investments and making certain they get a number. But it's an exact number. I don't have an exact number for you today, Mike.
There was last July, there was an effort to investigate someone who allegedly had Chinese ties to some Fort Smith property. It turned out that not be the case. So there was kind of a lot of thinking out there about this was a potential person that they looked at as their man. It turned out it wasn't. Do you have any protocols in this legislation?
We're going to take Yeah, we're going to take every one of these cases one by one, and the goal is certainly to protect. We also had one that we were clearly able to identify. The difficult part of this process is that they're very good at hiding and putting things in multiple shell companies, and so it's a pretty lengthy process, but we're going to take each case one at a time and be thorough in the investigation and make sure that we get it done correctly.
I think the problem on that was it got publicized that this was being investigated before the investigation was done, but it was publicized because you had Attorney General's office put out a letter or a note saying that it was under investigation.
And we want to continue to put people on notice. We want China to know that we're taking this seriously and that they're not going to be able to set up shop to do Arkansans harm. That's part of the point of today, is to make sure they know that we're taking their activity and their role and their proposed interference and influence very seriously, and we're not going to tolerate it in the state of Arkansas. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you being here today.